Okay, I guess more people will join slowly. Uh,
Hello.
Hello, Paulo. I see people joining slowly. Okay, so good. I think we can start, Gabby.
Okay, so thank you everyone for your time for joining and for being interested in possibly participating in our CCIO program and being here to learn more about what it means to become a certified chief innovation officer, and what is the process, framework, and tools that you will be receiving throughout the CCIO certification. Before we go into specific details with one of our lecturers, David Testone, who is here, so thank you, David, for being here. I just want to take the opportunity to show you a brief video on Jimmy really quickly, and then we can get started as well, and as we also wait for um, more people to join. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. Is everything okay? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Standard Certification Board dedicated to innovation and innovation management with a global network of over 16,000 members, spanning 116 countries and 20,000 individual certifications, and more than 1,500 organization certifications issued. Jimmy is the preeminent thought leader in driving innovation within organizations and equipping individuals with skill sets to innovate successfully. Jimmy has published the Global Innovation Science Handbook and is sponsoring the International Journal of Innovation and Science. After merging with the International Association of Innovation Professionals, Jimmy became the main innovation certification organization in the world, now driving global ISO innovation management standards. Jimmy is driving development of AI tools to help companies do bigger and bolder innovations faster and cheaper through leveraging innovation ecosystems. Jimmy is leading 5 centers of excellence across high growth sectors and has established within the Dubai Government Excellence Program the Global Council of Innovative Organizations. Jimmy has created Jimmy Think Tank, a weekly forum that brings together some of the world's best speakers to discuss innovation, leading to the creation of the Jimmy Speakers Bureau. Jimmy is democratizing innovation globally through a network of over 32 partners who deliver Jimmy offerings in their respective countries, more than 200 corporate partners, and over 100 universities and numerous governments that utilize Jimmy's methodology.
Okay, oops. Let me stop sharing the screen. So this was just a brief about us and about what we do. Um, so thank you for being here, and I guess we can start on what we're going to talk about today and what everyone is here for today specifically. So let me just share my screen again. And there we are. So we've just seen the About Jimmy video. In case you're not familiar with us, we have a lot of people that are, because they do the full scope of certifications to move on from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on, and all of our other certifying programs. These are, let me close here. Ooh, sorry. Okay, so these are all of the Jimmy individual innovation capability programs from our innovation mindset assessment, as well as all of our certifications. So we have certifications on innovation essentials and continuous learning, but the one we're talking about today, which is the Certified Chief Innovation Officer, falls under the innovation essentials part of our certifications for individuals. So I just like to give the floor on to David, so David can go ahead and let us know more about the program. David, are you there? Because I can't see you.
Yes, of course. So, hello everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I'm very happy to be with you guys today. So, let us talk about level 3 and level 4. So, Gabi, I don't know if you're going to share or you will allow me to share better.
You can share your screen. I believe that's going to be
Yeah,
better.
it will be easier. So, let us talk about, the CIO program, Certified Innovation Officer, and the relevance in the world. of innovation and in your companies. And it doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur. If you are an entrepreneur, this has even more relevance for you and your career development and your company development. Why? Because here we will see how to build a high performance innovation framework for you to develop ideas, to drive ideas to commercialization, and also to know how to measure the impact of these ideas. So what we will see here is about the strategy of a good innovation system. We will talk about the capacity. We will talk about the innovation process. We will talk about the people. We will talk about the resources. And remember, resources is not only about money. Resources has to do a lot of time and let people experiment and try new things, right? And we will talk about discipline. And this discipline has to tell us about how are we going to measure what we need to measure, and not fill out our desk with a lot of metrics that doesn't make any sense. But what are the 2-3 KPIs that we need to have ready in order to measure the impact of innovation in our company? So this is what we are going to do. How are we going to help our teams to develop and achieve the results that we want them to achieve? And therefore, how are we going to close something that is called the growth gap? And we will talk about that in a minute. So the first thing first. So what we need to understand is when we are thinking about an innovation idea, when we talk about an innovation idea and we said, okay, we have a great idea, whatever the idea it is, we are going to develop a new product or a new service. Usually our CEO will be very happy, but will say, oh, super easy. Let us do it. And it will be a straight line, right? It will be very simple to do it. And then, of course, no issues, nothing to worry about. And he will believe or she will believe that it's a very straight line. However, if we talk with a PMP, with a project manager, the person will tell us, oh, okay, so you are going to develop a new idea. And it will look something like this, correct? But for us that we've been in the innovation space for so many years, we are aware that this is not a straight line. This is not a straight line. This is something more like this, correct? Something more like this, something for you to take into consideration. Why? Because when we are talking about a real innovation, we know for a fact that there are a lot of uncertainties, a lot of things that we don't know how to do it. And we don't know if we have the capabilities, we don't know if we have the assets, we don't know if we have the right technologies or even the right partners to develop these ideas. Therefore, we need to be prepared for this journey. And this journey will be a tricky journey, will be a different journey of the ones that we are used to do. So sometimes you ask us, well, but how about if I'm doing an incremental idea? Well, if you are doing an incremental idea that something is, you know how to do it, and you have been doing this for many, many years. For example, you have, kind of this package and you will change the color from blue to whatever, to red, maybe you can do a PMP development, right? You can have the phases and you will understand how to move from a step to a new step. But how about if you are doing this from scratch? There will be a lot of uncertainties. Therefore, we need to be prepared for these uncertainties and map out before it happens. So something to take into consideration in order to be able to cross these messy lines, right? This messy journey is how can we approach this and how can we get the support in order to cross this journey. And one of the first things that we need to consider is about the growth gap. So what is the growth gap and why is so important in innovation in any company? I don't care if it is an NGO, if it is a government, if it is a private company, if it is in any sector, whatever you are doing today, you are doing with a current course. But as always, we have an expectation, and that expectation is to increase our EBITDA. It is to reach new customers, is to reach new markets, it is to reach new heights, is to reach new sales, whatever is what you have in mind, it will be okay, right? So that's our expectation. So the first thing that we need to consider is our current course aligned with my expectation, or maybe my current course is not aligned with the expectation. Therefore, there's a growth gap. And in that growth gap is where innovation intervenes. In that growth gap is where we will focus to develop new initiatives and be able to close the growth gap. So something important here, is it with one idea that I'm going to close my growth gap? And usually the answer is no. We won't bet in any single idea. We will bet in a common framework and a common ground of ideas called fields of play or blue oceans that are all aligned and are grouped by, could be industry, could be target market, could be customer, whatever. And then therefore we will start developing these new ideas in order to close this gap. But something really important, innovation won't, in quotes, play with the current course of the company. Innovation will help you to close the new expectation. What are the new things that you need to do in order to reach that expectation? What are those new products, those new services that you will need to take in place in order to reach that expectation that you have? Some of you will do a strategic definition, and you will say, "Oh, okay, I will need to, I don't know, uh, reach out 10 more million in the next 2 3 years," and that's your definition of what you want to do. But maybe you don't know how to reach that. Therefore, innovation will help you to close that gap. But it's something very important. First, quantify what's my growth gap, and then in how much time do I have to close it? Do I have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? In this time of uncertainty and with a lot of AI in place, remember, speed is a key factor for innovation. Nowadays, we can see the companies that are faster are eating the market much in a better way. Used to be the big company eat the small company. Now the fast company eats the slow company. So we need to understand, to close that growth gap, how much time do we have? Is it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? And last but not least, are we willing to invest to close the gap? So for example, if we want to have, I don't know, new revenue of $100 million in the next 3 years, how much as a company are we willing to invest? $1? $10? $1,000? So this varies within company and company, but usually we can say, okay, if it is the growth gap this big, $100 million, the company should be thinking about invest, I don't know, maybe $5 million to $10 million in order to be able to close this big gap. But if the company is saying, okay, I need to, reach this growth gap of $100 million, and we are willing to invest $10,000, maybe the company won't be able to reach that gap. And we need to be very conscious about that. So the three things that we need to consider is how much is the gap, how much time do we have to close it, and how much are we willing to invest. And that also helps us as an entrepreneurs. If we want to reach that gap, right? We need to be able to see that we will need to invest in order to close the gap. And that's the first thing that we want to tell you today. So we will align on the journey, and this journey will be a squiggly line, will be not easy. When we are innovating, there are a lot of uncertainties, but also in that journey, we have one objective in our head, and is to close that gap. And when we know that we have to close that gap, we will do several things in order to do it, right? So let us think about the urgency to close the gap. So who is responsible to close this gap? So I don't know if we have somebody from Korea today, or how's your Korean today, but have you ever heard about these two words, pali pali? I hope that you have ever heard about these words, pali pali. What pali pali means is faster, faster. So this is the Korean way. In 1953, South Korea was one of the top 10 poorest countries in the world. Today is one of the top 10 richest countries in the world. And what they did, and it was very important, it was pali pali, go faster, but learn through allies in different regions of the world. For example, they focused a lot in Japan to understand what was the Japan way, what they did know, what they didn't know. And they were able to embrace this culture of doing faster, cheaper, bolder, in a very cost efficient way. But also they were able to understand that we need partners in order to go faster. we won't do it alone. We want to do it with partners in order to close this gap faster, right? So there are many uh, companies or many logos that you can see there as examples of companies that they are doing very well on innovation, but they are always thinking pali, faster, faster. How are we going to do it faster, better, cheaper? And how are we going to achieve our gap? And who's responsible to do this? Well, you guys are. Who is the responsible? The board and the executive leadership team. To put the pressure and say, okay, we have a gap, $100 million, and we need to close this gap by 2028, or maybe our industry will disappear. And that's the urgency and change and growth that we need to have in our companies in order to focus our efforts to achieve what we want to achieve, to close that growth gap. So remember, pali, faster, faster. We want to go faster. We want to learn from our partners. We want to understand that we don't want to do everything alone, that we need to have some competencies, some assets, some, I don't know, technologies that right now maybe we don't have it, but somebody across my value chain will have it, and I can partner and go faster, and that will help me to close my growth gap. So one thing that is key here to understand is the following. To close the gap, we need to plant the seeds today. And as a seed, please remember, when we plant a seed, it's not that today we plant a seed and tomorrow we will get the fruits, right? Today we will plant the seed, and then we will feed the seed, and the seed will start growing. But that doesn't mean that in the next 3 days I will have a beautiful seed that is already germinated, right? And we will give them protection and we will give them love, and then this seed will become a beautiful tree. But then again, when we have a beautiful tree, it doesn't mean that we have fruits. So let me give you an example exactly about this. I don't know if you know about the cocoa production in the world. Cocoa is only produced across the equator line. And for example, for a cocoa tree to give us the best cocoa, the tree will take at least 5 years to get the best cocoa fruits, and then it will go from 5 to 20 years, and then we need to help that cocoa tree again. So if we want to reach those fruits, we know that we need to invest, that we know that we need to pamper our tree, and this will help us to close our grow gap. But you can tell me, okay, David, I don't have time to plant the seed and develop all the process. I just want the fruits today. Okay, you can do that for sure. And one example that is kind of new is what Microsoft did with Copilot. So Microsoft put $10 billion in order to have AI embedded now in the Office software. They didn't develop, but what they did was to put money in something that they knew that it will work, and then they reach a new height, and the market share react in a very good way, saying, wow, this was very smart to have a copilot, something that it will help me with the Office platform in order to be more productive, right? But it was 10 billion the right number, or maybe if they have developed, they will spend, I don't know, 100 million to 150 million. So it's very different. For example, when Facebook bought Instagram, it was all about $55 million. And then they bought it for $2 billion. So we need to understand that to close the gap, we have two choices. Either we plant the seeds and develop the seeds and have the fruits ready at the end, or we buy the tree. What's the difference? To buy the tree, it will cost us a lot of money. So we need to understand this in order to close our grow gap, and we can have both of the worlds, right? We will develop some seeds, but also we will have some trees ready to harvest. That's also fine. We need to understand in our industry what are we willing to do and what are we not willing to do in order to do this, right? So one of the key things here is the harvest big enough? So are we planting the right seeds? Are apples the things that the market wants, or is it, I don't know, orange or tangerine, right? So we need to be able to see the trends. And this is very important. The trends are shaping our world right now. If I tell you right now how the world is going to look like in 1 year, in 2026, most of you will tell me, well, it will be very similar as today, right? But how about if I told you, okay, how is going the world going to look like in 10 years? Are your customers going to be the same? Are you going to sell exactly the same? Are you going to deliver the same? Is the expectation the same of the customer? Let us just think about, the population. Right now is Generation X, kind of the CEOs of this era, right? But in 10 years, we will have millennials. Are they buying the same? Are we preparing our companies to sell in 10 years? Because remember, as innovators, as CEOs, we are thinking about today and the future. And that's the fun part about innovation. We are able to play in the future. So, are you looking at the trends? And those trends will help you to understand if it is apples or if it is oranges, what you need to plant. Then we need to understand if we have the patience and persistence in our companies to develop the seed. Because if we don't have it, most likely we will buy the tree. But it is very important to have the patience and persistence in order to develop our seed and reach what we want to reach. And last but not least, as I mentioned before, how are we going to check what seeds to plant? Well, we will focus on our customers, the future needs of our customers, and we will help us develop that through trends. And then when we have that, what we need to do is, of course, build a portfolio or a pipeline of innovation projects to deliver the results. And we will classify this portfolio in short term, medium term, and long term projects where we will be launching new products or services. I don't care if it is products or services to the market in a time frame, right? So this will allow us to have a healthy pipeline of innovation where we can play and where we can win. And who's responsible of this? You are. The innovation management team, the CEO team, to have a pipeline, a healthy pipeline of new products or new services. Oh, David, I'm not in the retail industry. I'm in the software industry. Works the same. I'm in the leisure industry. Works the same. What is the new things that you are creating? What are the new experiences that you are creating in order to capture your new customers and of hopefully your current customer will be faithful to you forever, right? So with that, what we want to say here is, okay, it's important to manage ambiguity and uncertainty in our journey, but we need to have innovation execution teams. What we will see in our journey is how to manage these innovation execution teams that will get us confidence, we will get support, and of course, one of the most important things, we will go faster, we will reduce risk, and most of the time, we also will lower cost. So as the innovation managers or CEOs of our companies, let us think not about one person, but let us think about innovation execution teams and how these teams can help me. I'm careful. I'm not saying only internal execution teams. I'm not saying that. I'm saying execution teams where we can partner with different companies across even my country or across the world in order to achieve new initiatives and help me to close the growth gap. So last but not least, let me tell you about the training and certification programs that we have developed with the leadership and mindset intent, with a clear innovation system that will work and will help you with your management, your innovation portfolio, to have it classified in short term, long term, medium term, with incremental and breakthrough initiatives. And therefore, one of the most important parts of innovation, at least for me, is the innovation results. Innovation happens when you are able to, cash in those ideas, those development of your ideas. But if innovation, nobody buys that, nobody cares about what you did, maybe there are no innovation results. And with this, Gabi, I will pass it to you in order to continue the journey. So let me finish here my presentation.
Thank you so much, David, for your time and for explaining to everyone how the CCIO program works. Now I'll just give the floor to Irila so she can continue on more specifics. Hi,
Thank you.
Yes, we can see it.
So yeah, what we would like to do right now, David was trying to give a point of view on the main components of the program. We'd like to give you a little bit more on the structure modules that we will cover in this program. So this is the Genie framework, which has been there for 40, 50 years and has been evolved. And of course, is right now also endorsed ISO Plus by the ISO committee members, which means if you really understand this framework, it's very easy to understand ISO and kind of has the components of it embedded in a simpler way. We will go through these modules during the course, right? So innovation strategy, capacity, discipline. We'll talk a little bit also about the performance, which is this component here. But what's important is if you are able to create this strategy, the discipline and the capacity, which it will be very easy to kind of capture and create the value in terms of the innovation performance. So the first part on innovation strategy will talk about why innovate, how you build a case for change with the top management, where to innovate, what are the growth areas, the fields of play. In the beginning, of course, also about the definition of innovation, how important it is, with what portfolio. So after you have created the fields of play, what portfolio and what pipeline of concepts basically you need to build as an innovation manager. And then we go to innovation capacity. We'll talk about the process of innovation. We provide you an idea of how the process of innovation looks like, but every company has their own. With what people and partners can you execute the innovative concepts, and with what resources? This is the most important part of the capacity. Then in the discipline, we talk about the leadership, the culture, and the behavior. We talk about metrics, which is important part, and I see sometimes from innovation officers a critical part that they would like to understand and know how to put these metrics in place. And we'll cover at the end, of course, a little bit on the performance. In the introduction of the course, we will show you the framework that I was kind of sharing one page of you. We'll give you also the difference between ISO and Genie and the similarities, so you understand about that, and you will have plenty of reading materials also about ISO during this course. The master classes start in June 17th. It's every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 to 12 a.m. EST time. Will be 4 weeks, the level 3. For the ones who want to continue also level 4 to get the title of CCIO, Certified Chief Innovation Officer, we will offer 6-month mentorship, like 1 office hour per month, to kind of help you in the level 4. And I'm going to show you in a bit. What we will use during this kind of course, we usually believe, first of all, in the learn how to do approach, I would say, or pedagogy. Everything that you will learn will be based on simulation and exercises that you will do in individual pairs and groups. And because we believe as a chief innovation officer, you can't learn by the books. You have to kind of simulate, and we will offer you since in the beginning the assessment, the Genie innovation assessment, organizational innovation assessment, so you understand what are your gaps. And during the course, we will go through those gaps kind of basically after you learn about strategy, you can kind of refine your assessment capacity and discipline as well. We will use the learning management system, so every session will be recorded and will be in the learning management system. So even if you miss a class, you will have it that in the learning management system. Well, we'll put the homework, the pre-reading and everything. We'll use Zoom usually because it's easy, it's interactive, everybody is using. And then basically we will have the assessment in the what we call Eureka program. And we'll use also a lot Google Sheets for during the level 3 because that helps you kind of interact and collaborate better in groups. Now, to explain a little bit the flow of level 3 and level 4. So after you finish these 4 weeks, there is an exam about the level 3. After you pass the exam, usually there is 3 attempts in total. You get a certification, which is Innovation Manager. Then you submit the application for level 4, which usually it is based on the gaps that you identified through the assessment for your innovation management system. And during these 6 months, you will go through this understanding the gaps basically, and you will prioritize 3 of the most important gaps to fix those with the help of a coach. and basically to showcase the findings from fixing those gaps. And of course, you can continue afterwards to fix the rest, so you can build this innovation management system. But of course, it's the time is of basically there is a limited time. We always prioritize some of the gaps. If Jimmy improves, Jimmy committee, after you do the project, of course, you will get the certificate, and then you will become a certified chief innovation officer and get also the level 4 certificate. As I mentioned, you will get to know also about ISO 56001, a little bit about this. There is lots of buzz out there, and I would like to kind of create awareness, but also educate our alumni and our students, future students, on the importance of the framework and kind of what are the benefits of some of the elements of ISO, what you will learn in GME, which is powerful, and how you make sure that in your organization you comply to both. In terms of instructors, basically, so we will have Hitendra Patel. You might know Hitendra. He is the managing director of GME, but also an innovation thought leader and guru of innovation. He has taught more than 5,000 students and innovation professionals, has consulted more than 500 companies, for 500 Fortune companies. He is a tech innovator. He is an entrepreneur, has been in robotics, in AI, but also has been, as I mentioned, tech innovator. He has been in Motorola, in the team that kind of implemented the lithium-ion batteries. And basically, he has been in the innovation management sphere to Arthur D. Little Monitor Group and Excel Center right now in GME for more than 40 years. David Tassone, you got to know him right now. He's as well a trainer. He has trained thousands actually of innovation professionals. He has instructed as well students in different universities around the world. And of course, he has consulted 500 Fortune companies, but also SMEs, and has helped them in acceleration processes. You will have Gabriela as a support or teaching assistant basically during this course, but we'll have also guest instructors like Brett Trusco, who is the co-chairman of GME, ISO expert, Adi Alon as well, like innovation management consultant, and me. Like I am as well a senior consultant on innovation management consulting for 500 Fortune companies, as well trainer and mentor of many innovation officers. And of course, you will see more than that in terms of the mentors that will mentor you during the level 4, of course, these people, but also others. Now, we would like to kind of, I believe Gabriela will introduce the panel, and I'll moderate the panel with the our alumni. So with Raid and I think Arshada were in our previous cohort, and they will share a little bit more about their experience. Gabi?
Sure. Hi. Hi, I'm just trying to find them right here just to spotlight so we can see them. Thank you, Harshada. Thank you, Raid, for being here. So they're both past alumni from our CCIO programs. So Harshada is a director at, I might butcher the name, Lexres Data Science and Analytics. And then we have right here, who is the Chief Strategy and Business Excellence Officer at the General Authority for Competition in Saudi Arabia. So thank you so much for being here, for accepting our invitation, and for sharing your experiences with the other people in this call. So go ahead, Edila.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
so much for having us. And what we were in one team. That's one of the good news.
Right, yeah.
So I would like to kind of start this session basically with a few questions. The first question I have is actually for Raid. I hope, Raid, you are there. So the first question is, how has this CCIO course, and I know you are still also in progress with the level 4, but how has this course helped you kind of think, but also build these innovation management systems internally for your company? Right?
So actually, maybe as many of you know that I have been working in innovation for about 4 years, but I did not take it from educational background, from experts who are in the field. And lately, I found that I have to take it from experts who has the experience. And I found that Jimmy is one of the excellent institutions. Why? Because they sharpen my experience from being only theoretical into very systematic, practical way of doing it until you can see things on ground. So all of these have been done during the past period of time. And by the way, having the CCIO, Certified Chief Innovation Officer, with Jimmy is not only a certificate, and it's not only a book, and it's not only practices, and it's not only templates. It is a close mentorship with one mentor, and I have Erla with thanks, as she is my mentor for the 6 months. And what she is doing is that she is checking that I'm on top of things, I'm following up with things, and I'm doing the things right as per the Jimmy standards. I'm making sure that what we are doing is aligned with what we have got in the course. I have presented something to her, and she said that okay, right, thank you, but this is not what we are looking for. We are looking for 1, 2, 3. Then while I was reviewing what she was saying, I found that that's really right, and I have to do things in a different way to make sure that this is the right way of doing it. So this helped me a lot in the period of time, last, let's say, 2 or 3 months, a period of time, just to sharpen things in a good way, in a more practical way than theoretical way.
Thank you, Rai. And to you, Harshada, as well. My question actually is, what tools, right, from this course have you adopted or started to adopt when are you in the moment that you are working with your company, and how has helped you in general, the course?
Right, sure. So I'll talk about level 3 because that's what we were focusing on before going to level 4. And essentially, I just wanted to finally summarize what I had learned during the time as I walked back with a mindset rather than materials or knowledge, a mindset of a innovator or innovation manager, really. Uh, when I started the course, and this was recommended by one of my mentors, it was more a thought that, innovation comes as an idea and you work on it and it gets done. Talking about the tools that you had mentioned, you guys walked us through the tool where you see innovations as coming through a pipeline, and then you work on each of the steps, uh, like the setup, the divergence uh, mindset, where you work on a lot of things, then you bring it together, you connect them and you converge, and then you build the right pipeline, which is going to make sense from a monetary and value basis. So that's the tool I have been using almost regularly on an every day, every week basis, whenever I have meeting with my team. Just to step back and give a little bit of background, I run a data science consulting shop. So, as a consultant as well, uh, having the mindset of a innovation manager works really well with a lot of customers I now serve. Because when you talk about a Jimmy certification, obviously it has its own weight. But when you start talking through the framework, they see where I'm coming from. They see it more logically than just something that I must have read or researched. It's a logic, a foolproof mindset that gets to the client. Also, the fact that my market is very, so to say, challenging. Everyone's market is. But the pally part, which we just covered, it really helps me because it one keeps my team on the toes, and it also generates quick results. So those are the tools in general that I have been using.
Thank you, Rashada. Right. So I have the same question for you in terms of is there any concept, any tool that you got from this course that you are already applying it?
You can say what we haven't applied. Why? Because the first day that I met the CEO, where I'm reporting to CEO, he was saying that, okay, we need to do 1, 2, 3. And I found that the best way of doing this is to have it through innovation. And if you remember the assessment that I have done for the company there where I am, almost everything in the assessment was almost zero. There was nothing. No team, no culture, nothing at all. And now what I started with is that to build the strategy, to make sure that the strategy mindset is there, and to make sure that there is the right capacity, and to make sure that understanding innovation to start the culture, and then making them into the process of the discipline, which are the main three concepts in Jimmy. And once you have that, as Ella, you were saying that, or David, I think, was saying that, once you have all of that in place, make sure that you do the right performance through the reports, and making sure that you are capturing the value that you are doing. And that is all innovation. This is what we are thinking of theoretically, but in practical, we have developed processes. We build team, and making sure that all the strategy is in place, making sure that what we do and when we do it and where we do it, and then making sure that our portfolio of innovation projects is in place. And then making sure the change management, the right resources, whatever resources, as David was saying, it's not financial resources only, but human resources, financial resources, other resources that we need to make the innovation happen. We started in building this, making sure that the leadership support is there and they are understanding what we are doing, building the culture, and then coming up with the final reports that we need to do for our work. Not only that, I can tell you that we have an innovation activation program for 3 months, and this will be ending by September, where we will have 3 days hackathon and a big ceremony for across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So this has been done after one milestone that I have done is Jimmy 3 and not certified yet, but in the process of being certified.
Yeah. Thank you, Rai, for sharing that. I have a question now, the last question for both of you, Harshada. First of all, what's a big insight that you have actually for, like these future students that are aspiring innovation managers, officers, or actual current innovation managers, officers, a big insight they should kind of keep in mind why they need to take this course?
Right. So actually, I had 3 things on my list. The first one and the biggest one is that innovation in current scenario is like a moving target, really. What you call innovation today might not really be an innovation even 2 weeks down the line. So keeping a track of the trend so that you are ahead of the curve, that's basic. Also, innovation as a management practice is essentially capturing what is in your control. A lot of things, innovation also equates to creativity. And like I said, it's moving target, but what is in your control? How do you manage it? This course would provide you a clear framework to do that. The third thing is obviously ISO as such around innovation is something that is developing. A lot is being revised. So you'll get a good hang of what is the current status of the ISO documents that are out there. ISO 27000. Also, one of the highlights was connecting and networking. So Red and I, we were in the same group, and the kind of conversations that we have had over the 5 live sessions that we had were priceless. What I learned there, it would have taken a lot more years for me to learn without that kind of networking and connect.
Thank you, Arshada, for emphasizing that beside all the learning, right? I think one of the main components of the CRP and CCIO is networking that we have, because it's an international class of great innovation kind of professionals that are trying to build innovation or move innovation forward in their countries, companies. So that's great because you can share with them. You can probably have collaborations, right?
Yeah, David was saying that you need to build the partnership not only with the people with you in the company, not the companies or people within the same country, but globally. Harshada and myself have this communication, and I consulted Harshada in two things after the course. One of them was the exam, and she was very supportive. So I have now a consultant from other country who has another mindset in AI, and she is helping. She has the same mindset and the way of thinking in innovation, and we can cooperate with each other. So having this course is not only a certificate. It's not only taking things into ground, but building connections, building a relationship with others, and taking things to a next level where I think it's hard to do it alone or through other channels. But you can say that through this course, you can build a lot of connections and, let's say, partnerships.
Okay, thank you very much, Raid and Harshada, for sharing these insights and for.
We lost you, Erla.
For any questions you have for me, Gabriela, and David, basically. So let us know. I see some questions in the chat, which most of these were kind of on. We'll share the recording and the deck. Yes, for sure, we'll share that. And kind of we'll give you also exact next steps. Exact next steps about this. And I see another question. Are these certifications accredited and how it's being related to ISO 56001 requirement? So these certifications have been out there kind of for, I would say, more than 15 years. So basically, there is 18,000 people certified on Gini, basically, and we are ISO 17024 compliant. And related to ISO 56001, this course is based on this framework that we shared. In this framework that we shared, basically this framework is already endorsed as ISO Plus, ISO 56001 Plus, making sure that because it's created much earlier before ISO started to work, actually, and has been evolving afterwards. There is more than 1,500 companies which are certified in this framework as organizations. And also, I want to mention that also with the assessment, which is based on this framework, actually also we have incorporated any ISO element that any organization, for example, which takes this assessment, or any innovation manager which takes this training and is able to put these things in place, for sure they are ISO compliant, and there are levels there which we will explain during the program. Hopefully I responded to the question. Any other questions beside this here? I see Gustavo. So just to make sure to mention this, of course, it's important that we will kind of basically we won't have another core for CCIO this year because we already had one on February. This is the second one, and we don't do too many because this is quite an effort and it's an international cohort, and we have other trainers in every country who do these trainings on site. However, if you are planning to miss 1-2 sessions, it's okay because we have the recordings in the LMS. Of course, if you are missing the whole thing, of course, there is no point. I understand. Any other questions? For the cost of training. Yes, so we will share this also with you via email. It's okay if you can share also the link of the website, Gabriela. So Level 3 only is 1,500, and then if you do both is 2,600. But we have discounts for members if you become a member, and either an individual member or a corporate member, and you are trying to come as a team. So we will share that with you also via email, but it's also in this landing page. We already have people who have been confirmed, basically, who have confirmed the participation. So definitely would like to have a great cohort as always, and not for the sake of a number of people actually, because usually it's a selected number of people, but because of the interactions that are created there, as Harshada mentioned, and the networking, basically that it thrives basically usually during these cohorts. The cohort size not last year, but this it was this February. If I'm not wrong, it was a little bit more than 30 people. Because of course there were people who went for the full program, there were people also for level 3, but it was more than 30 people, yeah, I'm sure for that. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you, Irela, for the presentation. Now I can see the whole picture of the level 3 and level 4, but I want to see how it goes with level 4, the importance of after getting level 3, getting the level 4. Thank you.
Perfect. So level 3, I'll explain it in a simple way. Level 3 is you get the theory behind, right, of the framework, and of course you will do exercises and everything. You'll understand the gaps through the assessment. There is an exam. Level 4 is a project-based. So you actually will work on the gaps of your company for the innovation management system, your innovation management system. Probably you have something in place, but you have gaps and you need to move forward, and we'll try during those months to kind of prioritize and fix some of those gaps together. Or you might have zero and you have to start from scratch based on this framework. So we will, of course, prioritize some of these sections during that period. Sometimes there are people who want to do this in a compressed way. So we are okay if you do want to do it in 3-4 months, but our support cannot last more than 6 months. And then, of course, you have all the tools and the knowledge on level 3, you have the support, and you have started the journey in level 4, and you can continue improving the innovation management system basically afterwards. Hopefully I respond to your question, Mr. Oni.
Thank you. Thank you, Irla. That's all right for me. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes,
Hi,
to pick up
this is
from
Shishir
the
here.
previous question, if I may, if we are working in groups, and I'm talking about level 4, which is case-based, how does it work if we're working on a group and the case is specific to a certain company or a sector, while maybe other participants are not related to this
Yes.
particular challenge? So how does it work?
So level 4 is not working in groups, is basically every participant is working on their own innovation, their company's innovation management system. It's not like level 2. So because you are a chief innovation officer, so you are trying to build innovation management system. Level 2 is different, is working in groups because you are trying to drive an idea to commercialization. You cannot do it alone. Of course, if you are 2 people from your company and you are kind of because a chief innovation officer doesn't work alone, you can work on that project together, but not from different companies.
Thank you.
I think there was another question, Shishir.
Yeah, hi, this is I'm Shishir. I'm based in the UAE, and I'm also the innovation lead for my company. Now, regarding the course, how much time will we get actually after completing the level 3 certificate before we start the project? I think you understand what I'm trying to ask is basically, there are several attempts, I understand, and like, will we get enough time, or the cohort for the level 4 starts and like people are still stuck in level 3, like something like that, you know?
Yeah, so the idea is here, after getting the certification from level 3, you can start immediately because we continue other cohorts. So we'll give you a 6-month period to kind of provide the support. And definitely you can take a little bit more time to finish the things to submit for the level 4. It's up to you, but we give you a 6-month period because we can't stay forever. To kind of give you the support with the coaching sessions. We are flexible in the sense of you are not ready with the challenge and all this, but we try to make you think about the challenge because it's clear you will work on that also in the level 3, also during the level 3. So it's enough period actually to start working and have enough project to get the level 4. And of course, we don't expect, as I mentioned, during this months for you to have figured out the whole innovation management system because that's a work in progress.
All right. Yeah, I have another question. It's regarding the confidentiality part of the project. So what's the nature of the level 4 project? Does it involve sharing some confidential data? Do we need to get permission from our company?
So definitely you will work closely, right? In terms of growth areas, in terms of innovation projects and all this kind of stuff. You don't need to necessarily go into so much depth in terms of some things which are confidential. However, to kind of assure you about that, we always have this in place that we can sign, in these cases, at least we can sign an agreement, an NDA, right? With the member and Jimmy, of course, to make sure. And that's your project. Level 4 has a different nature, to be honest, but also level 2. We don't share these projects, right, with anyone. It's like yours, and that's it. So are not kind of shared with anyone.
Right, got it. Thanks.
Just other question here. For keeping the certification update, how it goes every 1 year, you should pass exam, or how it lasts?
Yeah, so it's 3 years the validity of this certification, level 3, and 3 years of level 4. Basically, so we have a system in place, the standard for certification. Gabi can share this in the website, which kind of gives you that during these 3 years you can gather. You might do other courses, or you might be member in different organizations like Jimmy, or you participate different webinars, or you do researches or speeches. So anything which is work related to innovation basically accumulate some what we call CPAs, credits, right? And if you accumulate that number of credits within 3 years, the certificate, and you share with Jimmy, certificate is we update the certificate automatically. There are some people who don't want to do that, and we offer the opportunity to upgrade their certification, so do another complementary course. For example, if you start from level 3 and level 4, we still do level 1 and level 2, which is about how you drive an ideal commercialization or future foresight or design thinking on anything which is related to innovation, or other courses that we have jobs to be done, ISO core, longevity, and all this, to kind of keep that certificate without necessarily doing the exam several times, if you have passed it once. Okay, I think we need to bring this to an end to respect everybody's time. If you have other questions, basically we will write to all of you with the next steps. And if you have any questions, please write back to us. I think this course starts in June 17th. We need to close the the registrations, I believe, in June 10th, if I'm not wrong. So let us know. And for any concerns that you might have, we can figure it out together. Okay? Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and have a good day. Have fun.